10 R-rated moments in WWE that can never air on TV now, man. What is good, YouTube? And welcome back to MKE MANIACI. Now listen, man, we are months out from Raw going to Netflix, man, in which I think, personally, in my opinion, that WWE slowly gonna shift towards more uncensored programming. Maybe we get cuss words here and there. Maybe we revert back to some of the old times. So we gonna check out some of the old times that cannot air on TV today, man. Let's get it. Shout out WrestleMania.
Moments in WWE. Number 10, Live Celebration.
Crazy.
When WWE's popularity dwindled following the Attitude Era, they would attempt to get their once core audience back time and time again. One of the ways they did this was by having outlandish and shocking moments, and some of these certainly pushed the boundaries of what was permitted on national television. In 2006, WWE decided to book Edge and Lita in a live celebration on Raw. This segment, whilst incredibly controversial, did a major number for WWE, and they were so happy with the rating for the live celebration that they issued a press release. One night after Edge defeated John Cena for the WWE Championship at New Year's Revolution, WWE fans tuned into Monday Night Raw in huge numbers. This week's Raw delivered a 4.3 rating, that's up 16% from last week's 3.7 rating. Edge and Lita's live celebration proved to be the highest rated segment on Monday's show, delivering a 5.2. This marked the first time Raw reached a 5 rating since February 21st, 2005, when Batista's WrestleMania contract signing delivered a 5.0. Whilst the segment worked...
Listen, I remember I just turned 11 like the month before this. When it happened, man, this is the day after New Year's Revolution. Edge finally won the title. Rated R Superstar, live sex celebration, right? I'm tuned into this. Now, my 11-year-old mind, I'm thinking, okay, we about to see some fucking. But of course, they had it covered and whatnot. Edge took the panties off, and so it was wild, man. Like, we would never, especially with all the kids and women in the audience nowadays, no, this would never happen again. And I just don't see it. No way. There's no way it'll happen. Maybe Raw goes to Netflix. We see Rhea and Dom and Liv. Maybe that'll be crazy to see if they wanted to, for nostalgic purposes, bring that back. But yeah, as of right now, I feel like we could maybe on Netflix, but I don't know. I don't think they could.
In terms of a somewhat cheap ratings grab, this rating success wasn't maintained in the preceding weeks and months.
Yeah.
Number 9, Mickie James' V-gesture.
Oh my God.
The WrestleMania 22 featured one of the most acclaimed women's matches of all time. Trish Stratus collided with Mickie James for the women's title, and although the match received rave reviews, Vince McMahon was unbelievably angry with the spot within the match, as James decided to go off script and deliver a R-rated taunt during the in-ring action.
Oh, that wasn't even the worst part of that match. She grabbed Trish Stratus' vagina during that match.
The gesture was never remotely planned, and the wrestler, who was relatively new to the WWE main roster, going off script in such a drastic manner was never going to go down well. When James went backstage following a career-defining win, she was screamed at by McMahon. WWE acted quickly in editing the footage, and even though WWE was a TV-14 product at the time, the gesture was seen as a step too far. Number 8, Katy Vic. Now, as we mentioned at the beginning of the video, WWE, after the end of the Attitude Era, were prone on pushing boundaries to get the attention of lapsed fans. In 2002, they went completely off the rails with this idea, as they decided to introduce the world to Katy Vic. This storyline wasn't just rated R, it ultimately resulted in one of the most despised and ridiculed storylines in company history. During a feud between Triple H and Kane, the game would reveal that before Kane arrived in WWE, he was in a relationship with a woman named Katy Vic. The game would claim that Kane and Vic were involved in a car accident, and after Vic passed away, Kane proceeded to perform an inappropriate act on the deceased woman. If this wasn't bizarre enough, WWE eventually filmed and aired a segment where Triple H mimicked the act. Whilst utterly gross and bottom of the barrel from a storyline perspective, the angle also completely erased Kane's prior established backstory that WWE had been telling the audience for years.
Yeah.
Number 7.
And now this was the thing with Kane at this time. I remember I was, again, a kid. I was a child at this time. I was afraid of Kane. But this Katy Vic thing, it was confusing to me. And I remember how confusing it was, because it's like, I'm looking at Kane as this is the Undertaker's brother. Who is this Katy Vic person? And it was just really random. And I know I'm a huge advocate for saying, the Ruthless Aggression period was the best time for WWE, in my personal opinion. But when they do like cartoony, not cartoony, but just goofy storylines like this, especially in the World Heavyweight Championship picture, it was dumb. It was just stupid. You know, maybe for a mid-card storyline, and maybe if it was somebody that wasn't Kane, it probably would have been a little more entertaining. But you got a monster like Kane, who for so long was like untouchable, where, you know, you don't mess with Kane, and you mess with him in this way, and it's for a World Heavyweight Championship match eventually. Yeah, it just came across the wrong way, man.
Right, established backstory that WWE have been telling the audience for years. Number 7, Kurt Angle, the sexual deviant. In 2005, WWE moved forward with a Kurt Angle versus Booker T feud, and on paper, it sounded great. Angle and Booker were amongst the 2 best workers in the entire company, but this was WWE after all, so they decided to add the most unnecessary storyline element into the feud. The storyline escalated when Angle would begin to harass Sharmell with the aim of having his way with her. According to Angle himself, the storyline made him incredibly uncomfortable, and he claims that it was a weird storyline trajectory for WWE to go down. In relation to the woman involved, that being Sharmell, this is what she had to say regarding the infamous storyline during an interview with Chris Van Vliet. Kurt was stalking me because I was so new at the time, I don't even know. They were like, okay, here's what you're doing. Okay, I don't know who came up with any of that, but I thought it was brilliant. Everybody's really touchy right now in this day and age, but it didn't bother me. I thought it was great. It was interesting, but I don't know if you could get away with that in this day and age. Everybody's like, no, we can't do that. It wouldn't fly now, but because it was acting, you know what I mean? Now there's some serious situations out there that are like that, and I don't condone that at all. But when it was acting, it was okay for me. That's just me. Number 6.
Yeah, the Kurt Angle Queen, well, this is before she was Queen Sharmell. So Kurt Angle and Sharmell, I remember at that point, that was a really weird time too, man. That was a very, very weird time because Kurt was like her stalker. He locked himself in the locker room with her. It was just, it was definitely not needed. And I actually did tune into the interview with Chris Van Vliet, and Booker T was tired. He wanted to go home at that time, but I think there was other ways they could have worked Sharmell into the feud with Kurt Angle and Booker without making it workplace harassment. But
I don't condone that at all. Well, when it was acting, it was okay for me. That's just me. Number 6, WWE Push PG Guidelines. Since WWE transitioned into a PG product in 2008, they've been reluctant to book any truly rated R moments. However, WWE still from time to time like to push the boundaries in this regard, and even Vince McMahon was in favor of breaching PG guidelines on a rare occasion. One of the times WWE did this was in early 2019, as a stagehand walked into Alexa Bliss's locker room and she appeared to be without a top.
Oh, that's nothing.
Dave Meltzer from the Wrestling Observer commented on the segment by stating that WWE were trying to make things sexy. So the idea is that they wanted to bring back this idea of God only knows what. It's like old time stuff. It's like whatever, that stuff's on regular TV shows all the time too. It was an attempt to do something that was very awkward in execution, but it was an attempt to make things sexy. That's all it was. Fortunately for WWE, the segment was incredibly popular, and as things stand, the YouTube upload of this segment is sitting over at 14 million views on the platform. Number 5.
It was way worse that they done in the past than that.
Liv Morgan's Shenanigans with Dominic Mysterio.
Yeah.
Since Triple H took over WWE Creative, they've allowed their talent to push the elements of PG, so much so that a lot of the fans and wrestling historians currently don't even label WWE as a PG presentation. One of the ways they've pushed the boundaries and been creating edgy content has been with Dominic Mysterio and Liv Morgan. Their relationship has been filled with innuendos and suggestive acts, and the best example of this was on the June 10th, 2024 edition of Raw. Morgan would make her presence felt during a match on the show, and she would end up being knocked off the apron straight onto Mysterio. Morgan remained in a mounted position on top of Mysterio, and she would begin to feel him in an inappropriate manner. WWE are taking a huge risk with segments of this nature, as of course the content of them could easily upset network executives and sponsorships, but they have been mostly well received, and the incredible social media numbers speak for themselves.
And I feel like this is also why I say Netflix. We're going to probably see a little more. I think this is them testing the waters with Liv Morgan and Dominic Mysterio, 2 perfect people to do this with, that, okay, when January comes, oh, it's go time. We pushing the green button, and it's going to get even more lewd than this. This is just the prelude to all that.
Number 4, the Hiden Reich segment.
Hiden Reich.
The dreaded Hiden Reich character was an utter flop in WWE. One of the main things
I liked it when he was with Animal.
Fans remember about the character was the insane segment that WWE booked him in with Michael Cole. In September 2004 on SmackDown, Hiden Reich kidnapped Michael Cole and took Cole backstage. After Hiden Reich informed Cole that he had the same desires as him, he proceeded to perform pelvic thrusts on him, insinuating that Cole was being violated. This segment served little purpose as it didn't generate heat or get the Hiden Reich character over. It seemed like a cheap way for WWE to just create controversy. According to Hiden Reich himself though, Vince McMahon informed him that he came up with the segment in a dream, which is of course incredibly disturbing.
You know, with all these allegations against Vince McMahon, I'm not actually surprised that he came up with Hiden Reich humping Michael Cole against the wall in a dream. I'm actually not surprised that he dreamt of that. It's Vince McMahon, damn it.
Number 3, Mae Young exposes herself. Burying yourself in the women's division was a common theme in the Attitude Era, and whilst this caused major shock value, it was inevitably going to get the WWE into big trouble. At the 2000 Royal Rumble pay-per-view, a swimsuit contest would be gatecrashed by Mae Young, and Young decided to rip off her swimsuit to show her saggy top half.
No one wanted to see that.
Whilst this wasn't anything too controversial for the respective time, this was the first pay-per-view to air free in the UK on Channel 4, and the network was absolutely livid. Due to the scenes on display, this forced Channel 4 to air all future WWE pay-per-views with a delay, and they would edit out anything that they believed was too controversial. Number 2, Hotel Shenanigans. The SmackDown product in late 2002 was on fire, as the product was being written by Paul Heyman and he was doing an exemplary job with presenting young stars. Whilst the product was being celebrated by fans, one storyline that SmackDown was committing to was leaving fans baffled. The feud between Dawn Marie and Tori Wilson lasted for months, and it only existed to try and appeal to the Attitude Era audience, which had unfortunately for WWE disappeared the year prior. The storyline would see Marie start a relationship with Tori Wilson's father, Al Wilson, and Marie would then get engaged to Mr. Wilson and told Wilson that she would break it off if she spent a night in a hotel room with her. Marie would eventually show footage of this at Armageddon in 2002, and it was presented as a huge segment that warranted a pay-per-view purchase. In the footage, the two women would kiss, and although the footage received a big reaction, it probably didn't warrant a pay-per-view slot. The storyline then went completely off the rails when Mr. Wilson died from a heart attack, and in a crazy plot twist, it was revealed that the heart attack was caused by having too much stamina in bed. And number 1, Kelly Kelly striptease. Former Divas champion Kelly Kelly would make her WWE debut on the
Extreme expose on ECW, man.
revamped version of the ECW brand. At first, WWE evidently had no desire to have Kelly to be a prominent in-ring talent, as they booked her as an exhibitionist. Kelly would perform a striptease for her debut, and this was incredibly risque even for 2006. In relation to how the segment and character came about, Kelly revealed all during an interview with Chris Van Fleet, and the insane thing about this segment is that Vince McMahon showed Kelly how he wanted it to be performed on TV. Paul Heyman called me and said, "We have this idea and it's this gimmick, and you're going to come out and you're going to do this tease, and then your jealous boyfriend is going to come out and wrap you in a towel." Vince is like, "It'll be fine, I'll teach you the moves." I was like, well, whatever I have to do to get my foot in the door. My first day, I remember Triple H and Vince were all in the room and they were just like, "Alright, these are the basic moves that we need." I'm like sitting there and I'm watching Vince McMahon, who I watched when I was 13 years old and just idolized, and he's got a chair and he swings his jacket around. That's a visual I don't think we ever want to see. But there you have it, folks. R-rated moments in the WWE.
Now, I've always been a person to say, you know, this is professional wrestling. This is entertainment. Just like in movies, just like in TV shows, you know, yeah, R-rated moments aren't needed, but they go hand in hand with the product. And I get, now there's sponsors. Now there's, you know, things that you got to kind of, you know, stay in line with if you want to keep sponsors. And WWE has a ton of sponsors right now. But, like I said a million times in this video, the Netflix thing, I expect we're going to see a lot more R-rated moments, maybe just on Monday Night Raw because of the Netflix thing, but yeah, I feel like, you know, these things go hand in hand with the world of professional wrestling, man, with the world of entertainment. So yeah, some of these we might not see anymore. I don't think we're gonna see live strippers on Monday Night Raw like they did on ECW. We're probably not gonna see some of these things, but some of them I think we could see again. Man. Especially with Liv and Dominic Mysterio, man. But yeah, y'all let me know what y'all think about it, man. R-rated moments in WWE that can never air on TV now. Link down below in the description leads y'all right to this video for y'all to check it out in its entirety with no interruptions, man. If you are new to the channel, hit that subscribe button for me. And until the next video, I'll see y'all then. Thank you for watching MKE Maniaci. I'm out.